and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday. I woke up this morning thinking it was Friday, but it's definitely Thursday. And I have another legal fitness episode for you today. This is a really interesting topic and something that I had never thought about really until I started doing research. It's not widely known, and even though I'm an attorney, I definitely didn't know it was there. So I think it's going to be really beneficial for you guys. As always, these videos are legal information only. It is not legal advice. I don't know you and I don't know your situation. So although I'm an attorney, I am not your attorney. And this is just to be some information for you to take and kind of either find your own attorney or do some more research on your own. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this episode. We are going to discuss the ever popular sweepstakes or giveaway contest that you see everywhere on social media, especially in the fitness space. Fitness influencers love giveaways. And did you know that there are actually rules and regulations that need to be followed both statewide and federally? So today I'm going to go over some of the federal, more general regulations, and then of course you're going to want to check with your state individually to see what the rules are governing these specific types of giveaways. So the video is going to be relatively simple. I'm just going to give you the rules and the things that you need to make sure you are doing when you do one of these, and then I'm going to put a recap in the description box, so go ahead and open that up. If you have further questions, leave me a comment, and then of course you can send me an email and I'd be happy to help you with anything that you are concerned about. So like I said, we're going to discuss sweepstakes or promotions. Everybody in the fitness space seems to be pairing with a company to give away product or a service, or just doing them on their own without even consulting a company and giving away some type of product or service. These are an awesome way to market and to stir up engagement on your profile. It helps you gain new followers and overall promote your brand. And these are definitely fun and a great promotional tool, but you need to be sure that you're following the rules and regulations so that you don't upset the FTC or anybody regulating communication, marketing, all of that stuff in your state. There are three types of promotions. So on Instagram, everybody calls them a giveaway, and that's not necessarily true. Sometimes they may be something different than a giveaway. The first one is just a basic contest. The contest criteria is that the winner is based on some kind of merit. So you submit a really funny video or you come up with the best tagline. A contest requires some type of skill for the entrant to have in order to win. Then we have the sweepstakes, which is what you see primarily on Instagram. These are the actual giveaways. The winner is selected at completely random or, by chance. This is going to be the one that you see most often on Instagram and probably Facebook and maybe even Snapchat or Twitter, because all the person has to do is, something small, and then just randomly they're selected. The person doing a sweepstakes is usually exchanging, the product for likes on their photo or a share or a follow or what have you. So it's really just a way to get people engaged and interested in their profile or a brand's profile. And then finally we have a lottery. The lottery is defined as pay to play. So if you charge a fee for people to participate in your promotion, then you've crossed into lottery territory, and that's huge no. Lotteries can only be run by a state agency, and I'm willing to bet you on Instagram are not a state agency. There's no way you can construe this to be okay. And when I say pay, I don't mean just money. It could be any kind of consideration. So non-monetary things that the courts have considered consideration that the courts have viewed as consideration would be something that requires like extreme effort to enter or expend, an amazing amount of time and energy for the benefit of your company or your brand. The next thing that indicates something is a lottery is that the participant is chosen or the winner is chosen at chance. So it's random, no matter how much they pay or no matter how much, energy they expend to enter, the winner is still chosen at random. And then finally, the prize there has to be a prize given, obviously. To avoid one of your sweepstakes or giveaways or what have you, your promotion from being a lottery, you have to take out one of those elements, right? There has to be no type of consideration, or the winner won't be chosen at random, or you're not giving away a prize. So it's my best advice, just stay completely away from anything that sounds like a lottery. You're better off just doing a simple giveaway or, even a contest. Picking somebody based off of merit is fine, as long as you're following these rules. So what are some of the major things that you have to include when you're running one of the above promotions? Each state's going to be different, and like I said, just check with your state laws regarding these types of things, because you want to make sure that you're following not just the federal regulations, but also your state's laws. You could do a simple Google search, or even check with your state's Secretary of State website, or just Google your state's statutes, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something. So the first thing that you need to make sure you do is that the rules that you've decided on for your promotion, your sweepstakes, your giveaway, they must be clearly posted on the ad or the post or on your website for everybody to read and fully understand. If you're doing a giveaway on your Instagram and you can link back to a website that has rules, that's great. If not, you need to include every single rule and regulation for the contest in your caption. Once you've posted these rules, do not change them. So once you've decided on what the rules of the contest are, that's it. If you change them, you are violating the law, and that's not a good thing. If you have a website and you're running a giveaway, I think it's always best practice to link back to your website so you can really fully develop the rules. And if you don't have a website, that's fine. Just your caption's gonna be really long if you're doing this on Instagram, because you really need to have these things that I'm about to go over in your rule. The first one is going to be the date and time for when your promotion is going to start and end. That's pretty simple. It's going to start from the day, you can decide on that however you want. There are no rules, but you need to have a start date, an end date, and a time in your rules. The next thing you need to include is the manner in which you're selecting the winner and how you're going to notify them. And then of course, can you go back and find a list of winners? For people who didn't win, maybe they want to see who won. You're also going to want to include eligibility requirements and exclusions. These are going to be things like age, geographic location. A lot of people like to put US residents only if you're here in the United States, because if you're doing a sweepstakes or a promotion that does not exclude residents of other countries, you're also bound by every other country's law regarding these things. So that's a lot of research and figuring out for you to do as far as whether or not you're violating another country's law. My best advice would be to go ahead and exclude anybody outside the United States. And then of course, age requirements like 18 or over is always a best practice. You also want to make sure you had the sponsor. So if you're working with a company on one of these and it's sponsored, you need to make sure you have the sponsor's name and address in your rules and regulations. You also need to have an extremely detailed description of the product, and of course the retail value of that product. Obviously the retail value of products differs based on where you are, so it's going to be more of an approximate value. And then you need to let entrants know what the odds of them winning actually are. The next thing I would recommend putting in your rules would be void where prohibited, because certain states don't allow these types of things at all. They don't like promotions and you're not allowed to do them. So if you include void where prohibited, that generally, puts it out there that you're not trying to run this contest in a state that doesn't allow these kinds of things. If you're doing a sweepstakes, so a giveaway like I talked about in the beginning, the following language should probably be included in your rules, and that would be an alternative method of entry, so an AMOE, which does not require any kind of consideration, i.e. money or extreme time and effort, because if you add that consideration into a sweepstakes or giveaway, then it's going to kind of turn it into a lottery, and you want to stay away from lotteries, like I said. So an alternative method of entry, entrants, they're going to get as big of a chance of winning as any of the other entrants. So if you've got a sweepstakes that does require some kind of payment, but you've taken out, the winner being chosen by chance, so now you're not in a lottery, it's best practice to include an alternative method of entry so that somebody else can enter without having to pay. And you have to be sure to include that they have as high a percentage of chance of winning as a person who is paid. I would include language like purchase not necessary, or purchase will not improve someone's chance of winning. For something that's like a contest where the person has to come up with, the best slogan or, make the funniest video, indicate in your rules the number of rounds or levels that there are for the contest, the cost, if there is any, to enter, and then the maximum cost that there could possibly be if you make it to all levels. And then some states will prohibit purchases for an actual contest, so make sure you're looking into that. Include whether subsequent rounds will be more difficult to solve or accomplish. Identify who the judges are and what they're looking for in each round of your contest. Your contest is only one round. just make sure you explain all of that. And you may also want to explain how much weight they're putting on the criteria that they're judging with. Something to note, if you are doing a promotion on Instagram or Facebook and you're not necessarily working with a company, or you haven't agreed to do this with a company and you're just giving away their products, be very careful about advertising the prizes by brand name, because you don't own the intellectual property to that brand name. And if you haven't cleared it with the company, you running the sweepstakes and identifying all of their products by their brand name is potential intellectual property infringement. So just be careful when you are doing that. If the prize winner is subject to US taxes, you are going to have to send this person a 1099 in January of the following year. And I don't think that matters if the prize is $5 or $500. I think you still need to go ahead and send that 1099. And then it is best practice to keep records of all of your sweepstakes and giveaways, who won, what they got, when they got it, for at least 2 years. So there are some states, including Florida and New York apparently, that require sponsors or just regular people, so you little social media butterfly, to go ahead and post a bond with the appropriate state authorities if the prize is, here in Florida, it's over $5,000. You have to register, and bond must be posted before you can do the sweepstakes. I know some states it's $500. So if you're giving away $500 worth of product and you live in, I think one of them was Rhode Island, you're going to have to post a bond with the right state agency before running the sweepstakes. So make sure you're looking into that, and you can find all of that information online, I promise you. Okay, so where were we? I'm sorry I got interrupted. I had to actually go to work for a minute. It's now a little bit later in the day. My room is a little bit brighter, and there's really not much left to talk about, but I want to finish things up very quickly. So before I left for work, I was describing the bond that you would have to post. Look into that. Like I said, you can definitely find that online. The next thing that I need you guys to think about before running one of these sweepstakes, whether it be a giveaway or a contest, not a lottery, is the fact that in your rules that you're going to post either on your website or in the actual physical ad that you're doing for the giveaway, I want you to go ahead and put in there a release to use the winner's name and likeness for future marketing and promotional materials for your brand. For your entrants, if you want to be able to use their name, saying, check out previous winner so-and-so, and this is what they got, and da-da-da, here's what they had to say about the product. If you ever want to be able to do that, you have to get their permission. And the best way to do that is by putting it into your rules and regulations of the actual sweepstakes itself. So you're going to need to do that in the very beginning, because once you post your rules and you post that the sweepstakes is taking place, you can't change the rules anymore. And if you don't obtain that release, you cannot use the winner's name or likeness, because that is a violation of their right to publicity. You don't want to run into that issue. You will lose out on all kinds of promotional and marketing materials for your brand by forgetting to put that release in your rules and regulations. The next thing I need you to think about is to make sure you're checking with whatever social media platform you are using their rules in terms of conditions, in terms of use. Each platform is going to be different. They might not all allow certain kinds of sweepstakes. They may have their own set of rules governing these types of things. So be sure to check on that, and also check on it regularly, especially if you're doing giveaways more than once a year. They most likely change their rules or terms of service pretty regularly, and they're not going to tell you that they're doing that because they don't necessarily have to. So make sure you just check with the platform what their rules are and that you are abiding by those rules before you do any kind of promotion. And lastly, make sure that you are complying with all of the privacy regulations when it comes to the collection of personal information of your entrant. There are so many consumer protection laws, and the FTC regulates this very heavily. When you're doing any kind of sweepstakes, you're gaining personal information, and there are certain things that you need to let those people know when you're taking their information. I have gone over privacy policies in a previous video, and the rules are going to be similar here in this case. The FTC has super strict laws when it comes to sponsored ads and even like sponsored giveaways. So if you are doing a sponsored giveaway or you've partnered with a company, they're paying you to do the giveaway, they're paying for the product, anything along those lines, go ahead and disclose that somewhere in the information about the giveaway. If you don't disclose the relationship you have with the company that is sponsoring it or giving you the product, then that's a violation of the FTC laws, and that's a big no-no as well. But really, that goes for anything. If you're working for a company in any respect and you're doing any kind of sponsored YouTube video or post or ad, anything like that, you need to disclose the relationship you have with that company, like 100%, so that the consumer understands what's happening there. Okay, so that wraps up everything that I have for you on sweepstakes or giveaways. Those are just some of the things that I think you need to consider before participating in one of these or putting one of these on. I do think they're awesome, especially in the fitness industry, because it really gives people and influencers a chance to give away some of the cool stuff that a lot of people don't have access to or maybe can't afford. So they're definitely a great way to build your brand, build your company, produce engagement on your profile, and help out people who just don't have the ability to buy protein all the time or try the next, the newest protein bar. So I think they're a wonderful idea. You just need to make sure that you're following these guidelines, that you're checking with your state agencies that govern these kinds of things and making sure you're not violating any laws there, that you are following FTC guidelines, and that you're doing these things the right way. The FTC guidelines is a great place to look for information regarding things like this or ads or anything along those lines that I've discussed before. They are constantly changing. They changed a bunch of stuff in 2013, and they're really ever changing as social media evolves and becomes a much bigger part of how we do business. The FTC guidelines are also evolving. So it's really probably a good idea to look into them and then just kind of get familiar with them and check on them relatively often. Make sure that everything you do stays in line with what the FTC has set up. Because I know that these things, when you do a sweepstake and you do a giveaway, yes, it's a benefit to you. It's also a really great benefit for the people who win. I enter these things all the time. I love winning free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? So just make sure that you're following the laws and that you're not violating anything in your particular state and that you're not violating the FTC rules, and everything should be good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did. As always, if you have questions, comment below, and subscribe, because there are going to be more and more and more of these videos coming out. I'm not sure what next week's going to be about. If you have a particular topic you're interested in learning, go ahead and comment, and I would love to put out a video on that. And I will see you next time. Have a great week.